So I'm gonna go over the pieces that I recommend you get, and a lot of these things are gonna be optional, so it should be around $1,000 depending on how strong you are. If you're stronger, you're gonna have to put more money into your plates, and if you're a little bit weaker, you don't need as many plates. You can put more stuff into the actual power rack and upgrading that so you get more usability with it. So first things first is the Rep PR 1100 power rack. I went over this in my video before on the best power rack for a home gym. Still do really believe that this is probably the best power rack on the market if you're trying to get a lot of upgradability with it. Solid rack that's not gonna break down over time, and it works for everything you need it to. Here's the things that I recommend, and you'll have to cut back on some of the plates you get, but you're gonna be able to do more stuff with your home gym if you go with this route. So first things first, whatever power rack you pick, whatever color. Then we move on to weight storage. You can get this, it's about 150 bucks. You can just add the weight horns to get a little bit of extra weight storage in your gym, and it's gonna be a lot less. So I would go with these if you're just starting your home gym and you don't wanna add on the weight storage from right off the get-go. These are only about 15 bucks. This is the main thing that's gonna be adding onto this power rack that's gonna be pretty amazing for the most part, and that's the lat attachment with the low row on it. So by adding this on, it's 150 bucks, but it goes directly onto the rack, so it adds a ton of stability to the rack. It's not gonna shake around as much. It's gonna keep it a lot more supported. And on top of that, it gives you the ability to do low rows, lat pull downs, bicep curls, push downs, a ton of different cabled exercises you wouldn't be able to do if you didn't have this. So I think adding this onto the power rack is probably one of the main things you're gonna wanna do. Of course, I've gone over dips and why they're such a great exercise before. So right here, they have their dip attachment. And with these, you basically take two of your safeties right here, you set them up in your rack, and then you clip these in right here, and you're able to do dips right inside of the rack. And of course, it has your standard pull-up bar on this side. It has a fat grip on the other side. It has the NutriGrip handles in there. So compared to the PR1000, which just has a straight bar option, this is a much better pull-up bar. And so just with all of this, you're gonna be looking at about $452 without adding the extra weight storage. So this is the route I would go when it comes to a power rack, and that leaves us $500 for everything else. So let's move on, and I'll go over those next. Getting something that's not gonna break down and it's gonna last a lifetime, and for that, we're gonna pick the Rep Saber bar. I would pick the black zinc bar just because of how awesome it looks. With this barbell, you're looking at about 1,500 pounds weight rating on it, so the odds of it breaking down is very, very low. This is the barbell I'd recommend. It has very good knurling on it, and if you want to, you can get the regular center knurling bar if you plan to use it for a squat, but again, it's up to you and what you plan to do in your home gym. And again, this bar is only about 150 bucks for very, very solid quality. Usually you'll have to pay almost double this for a Rogue bar or, you know, West Side barbell bar. So just things to think about when you're actually buying your barbell. Don't get a really crappy one that's under 100 bucks. Try to get something that's more moderate, like this Rep Saber bar, and you should notice that the quality is there, but also for the price that you're paying, like, it's really, really solid. And this is what I'd recommend for that. So as of right now, so just with the power rack and all the extra add-ons and everything, we're sitting at about 600 bucks, which is pretty freaking solid for everything that we have already. So now we need to move on to plates and of course our bench so that we can do things like the bench press. All right, so here's the main thing that is gonna either cost you more or cost you less depending on how strong you are. So if your main lift over 500 pounds, then you're gonna need more plates. I would recommend getting at least the 355 pound set starting out, and just, you know, working with some higher rep stuff for a while before you can add on and get some more heavier plates. But if you aren't able to do that much weight on a lot of the main lifts, then the 275 pound plate set or the 245 is gonna last you a very, very long time for most people. But if you wanna get the best bang for your buck, I would just spring for the 355 pound set. That's gonna make it so you get all the plates you're ever gonna need for most people. And then if you need more, you can just come back and buy them later on. As you can see, if we add this on, depending on how strong you are, it's gonna be anywhere between $189 and $379. So if you're not as strong, you could save between 100 and 200 bucks, but it just depends on what you're planning on doing in your home gym, what exercises you plan on doing. So this is where you might be able to cut some costs or go all in, get the $379, and then all that's left is a bench, which it'll put you a little bit over, but it's still very, very close to that $1,000 budget we're talking about. And the bench that I recommend for this setup is the FB4000. This is about 115 bucks. You can pick the colors for the supports. As you can see right here, they have the tripod design, so this is gonna allow you to get better leg drive when you're actually benching. A lot of benches, they have the supports on both sides, and because of that, you're not able to put your feet in the correct spot for most people. Depends on how you bench. If you have your feet more underneath the bench like I do, then it doesn't really matter, but if you like your feet closer to the end, then having only the supports on one side is a great idea. And the cool thing about these is they have a wide bench on them, so you're gonna get more support when you're doing your bench press or any other variations on these. So these are the ones I recommend, and they're only 115 bucks for a very solid bench. Again, if you go to a place like roguefitness.com, they have a lot of benches, but I think they're overpriced for what they are. So picking one of these is gonna be your best bet if you wanna get the best bang for your buck and build a home gym around $1,000. But that's it for this one, guys. I hope you all enjoyed. If you're new to the channel and you'd like to see how to get stronger, build more muscle, and also how to build a home gym and train in a home gym, Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.